Good morning, everybody. Hi, Angela, Teresa, Yvonne. Hi, Denise and Carol. Thank you all for sharing and for the hellos. I hope you all are well today. I wanted to share something with you before we get started. And I want to give a big, super fat thank you to my friend Donna. Donna is on, she's usually on here pretty quickly. Donna is on here usually with Karen. They're the Ohio gals. So Donna was super, super kind, and she ordered this for me, so I wanted to share it with you guys. I haven't put it on here yet, but I'll show you what this is for if anybody see this, and they even added Rachthestamper, which I think is the sweetest thing in the world. But this actually holds an embossing tool. As you see, mine's not Stampin' Up, which is why I haven't attached it yet, because I want to get the Stampin' Up one because it has 2 speeds. But this company makes these heat gun holders, and it comes with zip ties, so that's why I haven't attached it yet. But you can zip tie it, and then all you do is it'll sit perfectly on your desk, and then when you need to use it, if you've zip tied it, because it will stay, you just pick it up and sit it, and then you sit it down wherever you want. Obviously, again, mine's not zip tied, so it's not holding. But there is a great company that makes these, and they're online, and it's called Crafters Solutions. So the lady is a crafter, and her husband, I believe, if I'm saying that correctly, created this for her because I guess her heat gun kept falling, and then sometimes the flap would hold and things would burn. So he made her this cool little holder, so you can purchase these. So again, I want to give a huge thank you to Donna. She actually ordered this for me and had them put my name in it and sent it to me, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So if you guys are looking for something like this to hold your heat tool, that was very sweet, Donna. You're absolutely right, Fran. Thank you. So she'll pop you on here again, and we can all embarrass her when she gets on later. Hopefully she's on and not with her dad. I think her dad did make it home from the hospital okay, so that's great news as well. But I'm pretty sure you can like pick the color that you want and everything. But they're really cool, and they're super lightweight. So really a pretty cool tool to have. So once I get my, I have to order a Stampin' Up embossing. I've had this for like 15 years. But I like the fact that for the one that Stampin' Up has, I think it has 2 speeds, like high and low, which I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I'm going to get that as part of my pre-order next month when I go to On Stage. I kind of figured with the pre-order, I'll throw it in. That way I can get more stuff for free. But anyway, super cool. So I wanted to give a shout out to Donna. Again, thank you very much. And then also, again, if you're looking for them, you can find them on Facebook. It's called Crafters Solutions. And you can find out more information about this. So I thought that was really cool. Hey, Karen and Karen. Hi, Stacy and Wanda and Marty. Thank you guys for sharing. So, and they also give you a little instruction page. It's called The Boss. So then you have your little heat gun, as you can see. You can just pick it up and use it however you'd like. So another thing before we get started, I just want to show you a couple quick things, and then I'll show you what we're going to do today. So next month's Paper Pumpkin is going to be a distinctive stamp, which if you guys know, the Painted Season stamp is a distinctive stamp, so it kind of gives more of like a 3D. So they are doing that for Paper Pumpkin next month. So that's the April Paper Pumpkin. It is going to be photopolymer though. It will not be red rubber, which I was confused by that, but that's pretty cool. And also during celebration, just as like a last minute thing, if you sign for a 3 months prepaid subscription, you do get 1 free celebration item. So lots of items are selling out pretty fast. And just in general in the occasions catalog, apparently Stampin' Up has done a really good job this year of picking things that people really, really, really love. And then one other thing I wanted to show you from last week, if you guys remember, we made that box. Well, I made 2 more. This one is made completely out of DSP. I know it's a little gaudy, but it's fun. So that one, and then I made this one. So there was 2 different ones I made. So this one I made fully with DSP. It is a little bit flimsier, but I also don't have any cards in it. So I think if you put cards in it, it probably would be a little bit more sturdy. This one was made out of a cardstock base. As you can see, I screwed up my own measurements. So even though I had the measurements, I still made a mistake. So just goes to show you that I am cheap and don't want to get rid of my paper. And also, even when you still have the instructions, Rachel sometimes makes mistakes, a lot of times really. And just as a FYI, in case you didn't know, this is one of those distinctive stamps. So they look really realistic. So this is the style of stamp that would be in that next month's paper pumpkin. But I use this with the, I just had this page open and like a ding-a-ling. I made both of them out of the same thing. So I thought this would be cool to share. So this is in the Happiness Blooms. This is in the Occasions catalog. So for this one here, I used 2 different sides of the paper. So one side is this, and then the other side is the dots. And I put that on To Call Me Clover. And then for the other box, I used just a base piece. So this piece, and then the opposite side is this little half circle thing. And then I used some of this ribbon, which is in the annual catalog. And then this is just baker's twine. I cut 2 pieces and kind of shredded the end of it. So you could do it with DSP. And once you put the cards in, it definitely will be more sturdy. But you can also, you know, make it fun. So this is definitely much brighter than what we did last week. So today, I thought we would make a card that I know I made a while ago, but I'm not 100% sure if I actually ever shared it or not. So I thought we would make a different version of it today, and we'll see where it goes. And I don't really exactly know what to call this kind of a card, but it is a, that's exactly right, Gail. We add texture. Correct. I should have probably added texture to both sides, but that would require too much math. For this card, it's what we're going to be using is we're going to be using strips of paper. So I kind of Googled this because I obviously didn't create this card. I saw it somewhere else a while ago, but I recreated one, I think when this stamp set came out the very first time, because this is a stamp and a die set combo. It's Beautiful Bouquet and then the Bouquet Bunch framelits. And this one is really nice because it has a lot of really good sentiments, and they're actually pretty large. They're not, this looks really, really tiny. They're not that tiny. So they're actually like a really good size sentiment. And, but the card that we're making uses strips of paper, and you'll understand when I'm going to go. So what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to ask you to choose the color that the strips are going to be. So kind of thinking of it this way, if we're doing something like soft-ish for spring or like pastel-ish, so pick a color and I'll find one that I think looks the prettiest. And I'm kind of saying it could be anything. So I would just say, like, don't go with Blackberry Bliss. We want something more springy. So pick a color and we'll work with that. And then I'll show you how simple it is to be able to make this card, because you can make it any way you want. And then the cool part is we're going to use some of these to punch things out, which a lot of these do coordinate with these stamps. So if you'll notice here on this stamp, so this is like a little PSA for you. Let me see if I can find a piece of paper to show you. So this has a tail, and this has a tail as well. So it kind of shows you where to line this up if you were to cut it out. So this is really helpful. They've been doing this, I think, in a lot of the stamps that have a lot of the same lines, where it would kind of make it a little harder to find where to line it up. So all you have to do is line up your tail, and then it will cut out your image. Obviously, you're going to do it on the reverse part when you actually would stamp it, but you get my drift there. Okay, so that lines up perfectly. So they do have tails. So if you notice, if the stamp has a tail on it and you have that coordinating die, that usually is making it a little bit easier for you. And then, what was the other point of my story? This goes this way. And then the other thing is, when you look at these little things here, this is where the corner would go. So if you're going to put it back to make it line up correctly, that's where your point would go. A lot of times people will put a little dot there so they know where to stamp it. But the cool part is, if you're doing it with the die now, these have these little coordinating tails on them. So make it a little bit easier. And then we'll add this with a sentiment. And the other thing I want to show you, one thing while you're deciding, and I'll go back and read your tempting turquoise. Brenda, that's retired. We can't use that color anymore. But that's one of my favorites too, because I still have that one here. And I want to show you something. So I have a blog hop tomorrow, and tomorrow is with Stampin' Friends, and Elizabeth Jean Thatcher. She runs that for us, so she has it all set up. So tomorrow there's a really cool blog hop. So make sure, if you aren't signed up to follow my blog, if you subscribe, it will automatically send it to you. So for that one, we always have to create a card and a project. So that's cool. So you'll get 2 ideas. So it's spring, like pastels / Easter. And also the Rainbow Stamper even made a card for that one too, because he saw me using a stamp set, so he wanted to be able to do it. And I use this stamp set, Peaceful Reflection. So that will be tomorrow. And then on Saturday is the Team Stampin' Easter blog hop. So let me just explain to you. I bought this stamp set last year. Okay, my niece makes her first communion next month. And I thought, I have to get this. But I don't know if it's just me. I find this hard, so hard to use. I have never been able to make a card that I don't think looks awful. So I'm going to show you what I made yesterday because I thought, ooh, the thought of what I had in my head did not turn out what it looked like anyway. And there's Donna. Hi, Donna. Thank you. We were all giving some kudos to you for sending me the Boss embossing gun holder. So I shared that earlier. So thank you again for sending that. So I got out the Stamparatus. I'm going to show you if I can find the other two. I did so many of these cards yesterday, and I finally had to put it away because I was so frustrated. So this was my first one. So my idea was, if I embossed this little dude here, I embossed him in white. Granted, this was white when I started. Or clear, I should say. And then I stamped the roses. It would kind of look like it was busting through the garden wall. I don't know what kind of garden this is, like a child's garden, because this is just ugly. So that was awful. So then I started doing this, thinking I was going to put this little corner piece in the corner and like on all four corners and line it up. And this is straight, but my corners, this doesn't look good either. So then, hi Vicky, hi Diana. Then I went on to this. All right, so I stamped these two line pieces, which is this. I stamped both of these on one end, and then I thought, oh, how about if I add this in the middle because it's the size of a card, and then I stamped it blurry because I stamped it and I tried to stamp it again, and it wasn't lined up properly, so yet another completely wasted piece of paper, but maybe I can cut some pieces out of this today. I don't know. But if anyone has a card that they've made using this, because I have to make my niece a card for her first communion, or like an idea, because I see all these great ideas and I just cannot make anything work. Everything I think looks like garbage. I don't know why. It's just awful. So if anybody has any good ideas for this, please let me know, because this was going to be my blog hop card on Saturday, but this is just not attractive at all. I mean, like, I did pick the colors. I thought it looked nice, and then I went over it with it just, that turned into a mess. So we're not using that. So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to use these two, and we're going to do the stripe. So I'm going to peek back through and see the colors. You have this set, and you've never used it. Oh, Donna. So I see Highland Heather, Flirty Flamingo, Pineapple. Oh, they're all great colors. Pineapple Punch would be really pretty, too, because of the kind of theme I'm going. So I might go with that because that's not one I use a whole lot. Pineapple Peachy. All of these are great. Seafoam I did get to do. I actually did the first one in Seafoam. So if I can find that card, I'll show it to you because it was a beautiful card. Green. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to go North Carolina. Thank you all for sharing and joining. Okay. I'm going to go with the Pineapple Punch. And if I have time and I feel like really ambitious, we'll do two. And then if we do two, we'll see. Okay, thank you, Suzanne. I'll go back and look at that. Let's see. Flirty Flamingo. That would be really pretty too. Pink Flirty Flamingo. All right, I'm going to go with this one. And we're going to try one in Flirty Flamingo too. So I'm going to do both, okay? But they're not going to be on the same card. So I just have to get out my card and explain it. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin with some Thick Whisper White. Now, you can do this two ways, and so I'm going to show you both ways. So one of them, we're going to use Thick Whisper White as the base, and then for the other one, we're going to just lay this onto a piece of cardstock that's cut down. So you can do it either way, and we'll put that onto something else. I'm just getting out my... I'm trying to get out my two pieces of paper. So if you are making card bases and you want a white base, you definitely want to use Thick Whisper White. So you can feel that's regular Whisper White. Thick is really much thicker. It's very sturdy for a base. So that's good to know. And let me grab my trimmer. And then I will get the rest of these out. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the bases first. And then we'll do the couple cutouts, and then we'll put the card together. So anyway, you can get this. This is not a bundle any longer. It was a bundle when it first came out. And move that over. So the stamp set is here, and then the dies are on 216, which is back here in the back. There is a lot, where is it? Right here. There's a lot of stuff that comes with this. And also one cool thing, just in case you didn't know, if this is the first time you've ever looked in the back of the catalog, if you notice here, it does tell you 3 different things. So if you're going to make this, all you need is the standard die sandwich. If you were going to do this one down here, you would use the detailed die sandwich, and the same with the embossing. So it does give you different tips. So it's also helpful to look in there and kind of look around your catalog. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut my thick Whisper White base, and we're going to make this a vertical card. So I'm going to score it first at 5.5, and both of them are going to be vertical. So 5.5. Oh my God, how did that happen? Just like that. I already got smudge on it. Need to clean my trimmer. And we're going to cut it at 4.25. So you have 2 bases, so you could pop out 2 cards if you wanted to. So that'll be base 1. And then for my second one, I'm going to trim this down to 4 by 5.25. And we're going to layer this one on. Okay, so there's that. So really quickly, let me grab I'm going to grab Pineapple Punch. You don't really need a full sheet of Pineapple Punch, so if you have like a partial sheet, that'll work because it's bigger than this, and I'll explain why. So we'll do that one for the layer. And then for, what did we say? Flirty Flamingo. We only need a piece as well. Let me see if I can find a smaller piece. And the cool part about this is it's nice because you can do this really with any image that you have. That one's good enough. You could do this with any image that you have because, and you'll see why. If I can find the other cards I have, I actually did it a long time ago too with the By the Tide stamp set, if you guys remember, which had that lobster in it. That's where I originally saw this idea and thought it was really cool. Okay, so you do want, let's see. This should be fine. I'm going to do it with this one first. So when you go, you definitely want to make sure that it fits to the length of your base. So if this card is 4.25, you want this piece to be 4.25. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to make sure that's 4.25. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim off. 1 inch is a little wide, just as an FYI. So I wouldn't go with 1 inch. I would either go with 3/4 or half. I'm going to do 1/2 inch strips. So I'm just going to cut some strips, so 1/2 inch. And I'm going to cut more than I need. 1/2 inch. And the reason I say you could do, oops, where's my 1/2 inch? You could do more than one of this is because, well, that's not a 1/2 inch. Let's see. Am I? Oh my God, no, I'm cutting 3/4 inch. I am such a dingling sometimes. 3/4 inch is what I'm doing. Because you could have more than one card. Since you're going to have so many strips, you could make more than one at a time. So that kind of works out well. I'm going to keep going. Let's see. Here. And if anybody has a good idea of what we can call this card, I am completely open to suggestions. Again, it's not my idea, but... Okay, so the only thing you really have to decide is if you want to have a space at the top of the bottom, okay? Because what we're going to do is we have all these strips, and we're going to remove some of them, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. That way we can put both of them together at the same time. So if you remember, this one was a layer, so this measured 4. So we need to make sure this measures 4. I'm going to go ahead and just trim it down a little bit. And then for this one, I'm actually going to do, instead of 3/4, I'm going to do 1/2 inch strips. So, let's see. So this one will be a little smaller. Am I right? Yeah, that's half. That's half. 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch looks really small today. And you really don't necessarily need, like, if we run out of pieces on this, I'll show you another way we can do it. Because I don't know if this is quite big enough. You can always add in an extra piece and kind of space it with that, so it doesn't really have to be the same color. You just need a spacer to work. Let's see, make sure that's nicely lined up. We're getting to the end, sometimes it gets a little, I feel like my pieces get a little crooked, but I think this piece is actually crooked. I think that's the problem. I'm going to go on this side for the last one. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I somehow managed to pull that out. Okay. So here we go. So we have this one, just like 2 little pieces left. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to do this second. I'll do this one first so I can explain how it's a little easier. So what you're going to do is you're going to decide, do you want it to go all the way to the bottom, which I kind of think looks nice depending on what you're doing, or if you wanted to, you could scoot it up a little bit, but then you're going to get real mathy. So that's kind of depending on how you feel about it. I would also suggest, just for the point of being able to move it a little bit, to use liquid glue, because if you use tape, sometimes it'll get stuck and then you can't really move it where you want. So we're going to flip the bottom piece over. And just make sure you get to the edge because you don't want your pieces flapping up. So there we go. I hope spring is really here too. I'll tell you right now, it's like 30 degrees out. So it's not feeling very springy today here in Maryland. So I'm laying my first piece down. I'm kind of making sure that it is edge to edge and that it is at the bottom, not hanging over. Okay, so then I'm going to just sit this second piece in kind of as like a space saver. I'm going to flip my third piece over. Do the same thing. And then so my second piece is in there kind of saving a space. So I'm going to line my third piece up. Hopefully this doesn't end up crooked because I did this once at a party. At a stamp party. This is like, what did they call them? Jay Leno used to call them stupid human tricks. So then you should be able to pull it and it should be spaced. So then you could move the other one up if you wanted to, but I just find it easier to do this since they're in a line. So I'll move this down. And I think this is another cool thing about this. You probably could do this with DSP too. It's a good way if you have like scraps of paper and you don't really know what to do with it. Like if you have paper, but it's not really enough paper. I'm going to scoot that down. Press. And then just slide this one out. So same thing again. It should all work out correctly. If not, you could always do a little trimming if you needed to. So we are going to have a little gap up here at the top. But I think the gap looks better at the top versus the bottom. It probably also depends on what you measure. So when we do these ones that are 1/2 inch, it might not be this way. But only in the 40s, yeah, in Ohio. I know. Well, we get your weather a day later. So make sure you order some spring so we can have spring tomorrow. And I think there's like a full moon. Okay, so here is what it looks like. There's a little piece. I must need to change my trimmer blade. So here's what it looks like. Finished, okay? So all I'm going to do is just take this and fold it. Still can't find my other bone folder. My center stage bone folder. It's probably around here somewhere. Okay, so there is one. So it's like stripes. So it's a striped kind of base card. So we have one. So now I'm going to move on and do the pineapple punch one. And then what we'll do is we're just going to cut out a little bit of like little die cutting with the other thing. And then we'll put it all together. But it's really, I mean, this is pretty simple card to make, I think. And it's kind of nice because you can vary your background. And especially once you see what I do with the die, it will totally make sense. Because it really makes the flower portion that we're going to cut out pop. And also just like the bright colors of it. So same thing again. So all we're doing is just scooting this down. This is kind of like our space saver. Same thing again. Yes, yeah, the spring product number. I think it's out of stock. I think Winter said it's on back order. It seems to be, right? I read something hilarious. I can't think of it the other day on Facebook, and it was something about spring, and I should have shared it because it was so totally appropriate about like Winter said spring's not coming or something. I don't know, whatever it was. It was so funny. I should have shared it because I've also seen the meme, and I think this is so true for everything in life. The biggest lie I ever tell myself is that I'll remember that. Okay? Does everybody feel that way? Because that's exactly how I feel. Let me make sure this is straight. Because if not, that's where my crookedness comes in. Because I always think, oh, I'll remember that. And even sometimes I think the worst part is that I wrote it down, but I don't remember to look that I wrote it down. So that's even worse. Okay, so this one will go. So you have all these extra pieces, so you could definitely make more than one card. And put this on. Again, you could totally do this with snail if you've got like good precision. and maybe you haven't had the amount of coffee that I've had this morning, you could absolutely do this with snail. I don't trust myself because I would use fast fuse and it would probably be so crooked, which is what happened to one of my cards one time because I probably brought fast fuse to the party instead of this by mistake, and whoopsie, everybody's cards ended up, theirs were all good. My demo card that I was trying to show them how to do was not so good. All right, let me just wipe this real quick before I stick my card to this. Okay. All right, see, like I even feel like that one looks slanty. Yep, it is. Hold on. God damn. Probably not allowed to say that on Facebook. Oh, well, guess what? This one's going to have to stay crooked. So once again, make sure you line these things up correctly. I'm going to see if I can line up the one above it to create an optical illusion so it doesn't look like it's crooked. But I think I've ran out of room. Yeah, look at that. Good Lord. You know, winning. That's all I have to say. I probably could put like a little teeny piece here and maybe trim it off. That would probably be the best thing I could do, but oh well. So I'm going to take it off. So we're done. We're done with that portion of the show. So this is what it looks like. It's a little crooked. Maybe I'll put it, I'm going to put one on the bottom of this because it's so slim. And then we'll just trim it off. So I'm going to put a little bit down. Just because it's too much space and you can totally see it's crooked there. So let's see if we can fix that. Doesn't really even need to be that much, honestly. Make sure at least it's lined up on the paper correctly. All right, so I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to trim the excess off on that. Okay, so now, here's what we're going to do. State night. Oh my gosh, tornado testing. That's insane. Who ordered spring and got mud? You guys are hilarious. I'm just like going back and reading all these things and you're cracking me up. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to cut out the parts for the flower. So I'm going to use this ugly thing that I did yesterday. And I'm going to cut out these flowers here in white. And since I'm trying to save time and not make this last 45 hours because I have to pick him up from school, I'm going to cut this one too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut both of these out a couple times. And then we're going to cut out the stems. You can cut out lots of other things on this, so it's really cool. Probably should have done some of this last night, but you know me, I don't plan ahead very much, so kind of makes things a little wonky. Here's number one. Let's see, where is my paper piercer? I don't even know. I'm just going to use this needle, which I know sounds insane because you guys are probably like, what is she doing now? But I have this needle to clean out my fine tip glue pen. And it gets clogged. Yep, I know. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, so there's the second one. Maybe these will fall out. Of course not. Here's me and my needle again. I'm glad you entertain yourselves. I do appreciate that because I think to myself sometimes, come on, Rach. Get it together. You could do some of this pre-cutting. If I had an assistant here, I could get them to do my cutting for me. But my my stamping assistant, one is at school and the other one is working a real job, which I'm sure she'd rather be here with me, helping me cut things out and make a fool of myself on Facebook. She knows who she is. So one day, hopefully we'll be on here together, cutting things out and making fools of ourselves on Facebook. That's our goal anyway. My partner in stamping crime. She's probably busy right now, so I'm sure she's not on here. All right, let's see. I'm going to do one more of each because that was 4. Just that way it gives you, so you can see how much you can add to it. You don't have to add this much, but if for some reason you want to add more. So I'm going to do one more on each one. And then I'll do the blooms. You would assist me. Well, all you have to do is drive over from Ohio. I could probably get my whole Ohio crew to come over and assist me, but then who's going to watch? And who's going to make all the funny jokes that we all laugh at? So I don't know. We would be missing out. I think that would be very, Very sad. One other thing I want to tell you, not with your needle, but with whatever it is that you poke stuff out with, make sure that you do clean these out because they cut a lot better if you don't have these little scrappy pieces in them. So even if you do it like when you're finished for the day, just make sure that way the next time you have them, they're nice and clean. So now I'm going to do this beautiful stem here, okay? But I also want to do, it kind of depends. It's up to you guys. So there's a couple things in here we can do. So there's this little doodad here. And what this cuts out is it cuts out this little wrap piece. But then you also have this other little piece that kind of looks like thread. So I thought if we cut this out, then we could also wrap some thread around it as well. So I'll wait for the group consensus on that while I get out some green for the stems. I'm going to go with, because I have a ton of it, I'm going to go with Old Olive for the stems. We only really need 2. So I'll do those in the meantime while you all are deciding. Southeastern Ohio, there you go. You'll watch from Illinois and Michigan. Okay. Illinois, listen to me. Illinois and Michigan. I've never been to Illinois or Michigan, but I have been to Wisconsin when I went to learn how to use one of the CAT scan machines that I used to work on. So I got to go to the Siemens headquarters, not Siemens. Siemens is in North Carolina. The GE headquarters, which is in Wisconsin. So that was really pretty neat. I will say, out there in Wisconsin, they have a really good system for letting people on the highway, so there's not a lot of traffic. I thought that was pretty neat. So here's our 2 stems. So I have 2 of those. So now, all right, loose wrap. Thank you, Dana. I believe you're the only one that answered. So Dana is requesting a loose wrap. So I'm going to do it with crumb cake, if I can find it, because I definitely have some crumb cake scraps. So I'm going to do that. And then we're also going to wrap it up with a little bit of twine, because I think it'll make it look neat. And now, if you do decide to use this piece, you probably want to stamp it before you cut it out. That way you make sure that it's lined up correctly. And you can see this one just fell right out. So that was really simple. So I'm going to just do one more. And then we're going to start putting it together. And then we'll add our sentiment and whatnot. So the neat part about this is that it actually really will highlight the colors of the stripes in the background. If that makes sense, because the flowers that we chose are white. Let me put this cap on this needle so I don't stab myself with it. Okay, so I probably should have left that out because I really need to get out my paper piercing tool, but I don't know where it is. So I'm going to make sure that I don't have any little white holes here. Probably could also get my dye brush out, but you know. All right, so I'm going to kind of just put these together. So I have my pieces. I'm going to keep the flowers, whichever flowers match together. So I'll have these little tiny ones and then the little bit bigger ones. And I will tell you, between the 2, I really like the bigger ones a little bit better. I think I really more so just like the shape of them. I don't really know why, because I mean, they're both cute. And you could color these with anything. The other thing you could do that would be really neat if you had like some gray cardstock that you were trying to get rid of. So say you either had smoky slate or I think basic gray would be a little too dark, smoky slate or gray granite, and then you could do the flowers in color. You could also color these flowers with Stampin' blends. You can add some shimmer paint to them if you wanted to, or some Wink of Stella. I like these better. I think they kind of remind me a little bit more of a daisy, I guess. All right. And I'm getting super, 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 super duper excited for Atlantic City, because we have our Stampin' Up! Convention there next month, which means we'll get the brand new catalog, which that is always thrilling for me. New stamps, spending money that I'm trying to earn. I shouldn't say I don't have, because I do want to thank everyone who ordered this month. I have had a really good month this month, so thank you very, very much. And also, as another note, if you guys have ever heard about demos, which I've never personally been on one, but demos who earn a incentive trip, which basically means that they've had super good sales and they have enough sales that they're able to redeem. It's kind of like points, if it makes sense, but they're able to redeem to go on a trip. So what happens is you kind of have to have really good sales. So a lot of the major demos go pretty much all the time. I am almost close to hitting the flex point accelerator, which basically what that means is when you sell a certain amount of product or you buy it within a year's time, or a certain amount of time, you hit a flex point accelerator. Of course, this one didn't go all the way through, so that's why I'm ripping at it. So once you hit the flex point accelerator, then you're able to earn more points. So I know a lot of people have earned the Greek Isles trip, which that happens this year. But this year you can earn the trip to Maui. So I'm almost at the flex point accelerator, and I got to tell you, I've never even been this close before. So I am like really just shocked that I have actually made it that far. That's like a huge accomplishment for me, even that I'm almost to the accelerator. So you never know. Maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, I might make it on a trip. It's always good to have goals, right? Okay, so, and the other cool thing is, I'm going to just say this. I know a lot of people are like really into the little scraps, and I don't know if you can see that, but these flowers here, if you're looking for little confetti, they do little stars. But I have so much other confetti around my office all over the floor that I don't need extra little stars. But in case you're looking for it, there you go. I need to get to the flex point accelerator. I need, I think it's about $150 in sales. But then what happens is when you hit the flex point accelerator, that just means that every sale you get from then on, you get more points. So I need like a boatload more points. I'm going to just trim this off just like that. I don't know if I like that. God, it's so crooked. Oh well, we're going to leave it. So you do need a lot more points to actually get onto the trip. So I'm not getting on the trip this year, trust me. But I'm just surprised that I've actually made it to the point where I have like that many sales. To me, it's just shocking. Really. So truly, to all of you who watch and share and everything else you do, I mean, even if you don't buy stuff, just sharing stuff so people see me, that's huge. Really, really huge. And I really do appreciate that. So I'm going to grab my linen thread because I am going to end up wrapping some of this and we're going to put these together. This I have to figure out what color we're going to put it on. And I think with the green and the yellow, I think I'm going to put this onto soft seafoam as the base because I think it'll kind of soften it up, and I'm hoping that will like even out that crazy crooked stripy piece. That's to be determined though. So let's see. I think I ordered this today. My Stampin' Up! Paper order was supposed to come in yesterday. And I was all excited. And then the UPS delivery thing updated and said, oh, it won't be until tomorrow. And I thought, man, are you kidding me? I was so hoping this would come and I have to wait a whole nother day. But I'm hoping I ordered soft seafoam because I'm almost out of it. This is a color that I love. So we're going to put this onto here. So that'll kind of soften that up a little bit. And this one is already on a full white base. So let us put this together. See, I got my other little twig here. So I would say one of two things. Either you need to get out your silicone mat so you can glue all this with glue. And we'll do that. We'll do one that way and then we'll do one with the fine tip glue pen. And I do have up here my sponge, and this sponge I only use, keep it in a Tupperware container. Not that it still does get kind of gooky with stickies, but what I'll do is I put my liquid glue in here. So I'll put it in the lid. And then I will dip this. So let me move some of these over. I move this out of the way so I don't ruin it. So then what I'll do is I will put this upside down, take my sponge, dip it in here, and kind of stamp all over the back with the glue. And then press this down. I'm hoping by the way we put these flowers, maybe it will like cover up the skew of that crooked line. I don't even know. So I'm going to do the same thing with the white. Oh, goodness. I'll also put out that middle piece that got stuck. I don't want to press that so hard next time. So I'm just going to kind of lay these around. They don't really have to be in any specific order. I'm going to put a little bit more glue down. The other funny thing today is that there is a big military base pretty close to me. It's not huge, but big enough. And they're doing a lot of testing today. So they kind of sent out a warning in case anybody heard any crazy, more than usual exploding, which you can hear it pretty close to here. So it's kind of funny. I'm always like, what the heck is that? And then I'm like, oh, that's right. When you live close to that, you kind of have to take that into account. But sometimes when it really shakes your house, that's when it really reminds you that you are close to it. All right, so I'm going to add that one here, and I'm going to put one more right on top. So I think 5 is like the perfect number for this. And the other thing you could do if you wanted to, if you're really going for the gold with this, you could layer on just one of these, because I think it would be a lot to do on all of them, but you could layer 2 of them together so this one would like stick up a little bit. So there's that. There's a massive helicopter flying overhead. The windows are vibrating. I mean, like massive. There, look, see the camera? Hold on. Sorry about that. So there must be more than one. Everything in here is shaking. Okay, so there's that one. And what I'm going to do while I have it here is I'm going to just put this piece on this one. So for the second one, we'll do the twine as well. So I'm going to just sit this right here, just like that. So this could be like our simple card. So we could also add in some little color on the inside if you wanted to. You could put pearls on there, but it's really pretty, very easy. Like I said, really simple card. This one we're going to put onto our base. So I'm just going to pop that together. See if I can unsticky my fingers. So I'm going to flip this over and we'll hook this in, and then we'll add our sentiment. Nice part about this card is too, is that it can kind of go for any time of a card. I mean, this could be, yeah, that is so obvious, that line, but whatever. You know what I should have done is flip this around to the bottom and then put the sentiment, and it would completely cover it up. So, oh well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a sentiment here. You could do thinking of you, get well. This would be a great card for that. So easy. So there's one. And then I'm going to do this with the same here, except this time we're going to add a little bit extra on this one. So I'm going to start by doing the same thing. I'm going to just flip this over. I'll just pick up some of this glue here. Just like that. Oops. Oh, be careful when you got sticky fingers. Almost ripped that. I'm going to sit this up. Just like so. All right, let me put... And I know I told you I was going to do the fine tip glue pen, but this is easier, so I'm just doing this because I'm cheating. Power blinked on. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry, Linda. We're still pretty much probably in the same place we were. We're just gluing things together. All right. So it sounds like also out in the Midwest and the West Coast that it's finally not snowing from what I've read. So that's good for you guys. So maybe you'll get spring first out there. Where the paper came from. If you go back and watch in the beginning, it's really not that complicated. We just added in some strips of paper and we layered them together. Really easy. You could use any color. I'm going to kind of spread this out so it covers up the most of the stems there. And this is also a good way if you have like scraps of white paper. So as you can see, this had something stamped on the other side, so I'm just using the opposite side of it. And honestly, if you stamped on something on this side, you probably really wouldn't notice because it would be so tiny. It would kind of block it off. So I totally forgot to do this with adding this ahead of time because that's what I would have wanted to do, was wrap this before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it in with this piece here. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of my twine and then we'll just put it on there together since I goofed that up. So I'm going to grab just a teeny bit of adhesive. onto this just so I can get this piece to stick. And I'm going to kind of follow the wrap of this, but I'm going to put this in the back so you can't see the start of it. And then I'm just going to wrap it around. Well, I thought it was going to do that. Hold on, maybe I need a little bit more. And I probably need to clean this sponge out a little bit because it's almost too sticky. Don't want to rip in your paper. Okay, let me try that again. So I'm going to put this on the back, trying to find a spot that it'll be covered. And then I'm just going to wrap this around. Doesn't really have to be, I'm not, my fingers are so sticky too. I'm not going for like perfect. I'm not trying to match the pattern that's here. I really just want to have some to lay there. That way it'll give you an additional element, if that makes sense. Oh, that one came off. Son of a gun. And hold on. I'm going to get my snips and cut this off. That way at least I can just work with what I have. Definitely better to like go wash your hands before you take on doing this. Okay, let us see. And I'm actually going to just put some glue onto this, on the stem area. Not a lot, just a little. It doesn't need that much. Oops, I got all kinds of stuff stuck to me here. And I am going to grab, just to get my sticky fingers off it, I'm going to grab, ooh, that looks just a little messier. That's okay. I'm going to put the block on it just to kind of hold it down there for a second. I haven't got my paper pumpkin either. So there is a huge, in case you guys don't know, there's a big issue with paper pumpkin that they build people incorrectly. So they had to go back and like delete all the people that got billed incorrectly because they didn't want to overcharge people. Give them back the refund before they were even able to reprocess it because they wanted to make sure that people got their money back and they didn't overcharge people. I have not gotten mine yet, and I usually get mine by the like 16th or so. So I know some of them may not come until the end of the month, but they are still coming. They have not issued refills yet. And they also, Stampin' Up! Has not released their paper pumpkin video because they didn't want to spoil the surprise for some people who may or may not have seen it thus far. So that's the deal with that. So that was like a big, something happened where with whatever their billing was. So they didn't want people to be overbilled. So that's how that went. So all you have to do is keep your eye out. If you have a paper pumpkin and you have a demonstrator, you can call your demonstrator and they could probably check into it for you to see whether or not it has or hasn't shipped yet. So what I want to do in this is I was going to add, if I can remember where I put them, some pearls, because I think they'll be cute. Here they are. I kind of rearranged a couple things in my craft room, some of the things that I didn't use quite so often. So you can see these are the old pearls. I don't think I've got any new ones. Oh, we could add these. These would be pretty. Maybe we can add some of these. These are those Happiness Blooms dots. I think I'm going to go with that instead. They may not even exactly match, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to grab my take your pick so I can pull these off. Oh, these will be pretty. And I'm going to do like a mix. I'm going to do a couple. Oh, come on. A couple of these. And this is the Grapefruit Grove. Oh my God. Goodness. I should say goodness. I'm always telling my son to say goodness. And then I don't listen to my own rules. Just going to move a couple of these around. And then I'm going to add in a couple of the Pineapple Punch ones too. Sometimes I think I'm better off picking these up, which I've done this in the past with my scissors. Yeah, there we go. Nope, that is definitely not. I want to kind of like space them out because I'm not going to put one on every one. Could do some of the bigger ones. Oops, some of the smaller ones. So I'm going to do three, and then I'm going to add like a big one here or there. do one of the medium. I think that, I don't know if anybody else has that struggle, but I struggle the most with finding out where to put embellishments. I have so many things that I could use, but I never know if they're like, if it looks good, if it looks like she just ran out of ideas and started adding embellishments, because that's kind of how I feel. Like, people are like, what the heck did she put that there for? All right, I'm going to do one more of the medium, oops, in the pineapple punch. I'm going to put one over here. I could use one. Okay, so there's that. So this could be, again, like your basic version here. Very simple. We're still going to add a sentiment to this. This one you could add your little dots. You could add pearls. You could even add like a mix of pearls too if you wanted to. You could put a couple, good gravy, couple pearls on there. This pearl just went where it wanted to go. Let's put this on just for the heck of it since I have it here. Yeah, that's good. No, that's too much. There. Okay. And then I'm going to add my sentiment. So that's going to kind of be it for that. And then we'll make a sentiment and we will finish these up. So again, this one we cut the base layer down and I laid this crooked, so don't do that because that's why this piece looks goofy. And also, if you have a smaller piece, this one was cut at 1/2 inch strips, whereas this one we cut at 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch tends to measure out a little better. If I were to do this again, what I would have done is take this skinny strip and put it on the bottom because I could have probably covered it up a little bit better with the sentiment. All right, so now let's move on to adding our sentiment. The cool part about this set is it has a ton of great stuff that you could use. I mean, you could even do Happy Wedding Day if you knew their colors. You could do this, like I said, with gray in the background, and you could do the flowers and the colors of their wedding. That would be a great idea. Couldn't have picked a better friend than you. Thanks a bunch. We're going to use that for one. And happy birthday. But you could easily also make this a really beautiful sympathy card, a thinking of you card. So we have thanks a bunch. And what was the other one I said? Happy birthday. Okay, and now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of something of this onto the background when we stamp these. So let me grab a little bit of scrap Whisper White, because it doesn't have to be huge. I just have a little piece here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down and then just stamp into the center. So if this measures, I probably is about, I'm going to guess about 2 inches. We'll go 2 by 2.5. And then if we need to, we could trim it down a little bit. So we have one for each, 2 by 2.5. Probably going to have to trim it down a little bit. We could even round the corners with the triple layer punch or trio punch. I can't remember what we call them sometimes. All right, so I have thanks a bunch and happy birthday. All right, I'm going to scoot these up. And what I'm going to do first is put this down, both of those. I'm going to put this little flourish, it's like blossoms. I'm going to stamp that onto the white before I even stamp my sentiment. So, and I'm going to try to go with like a really pale color. So I'm going to do petal pink. I'm going to do petal pink for the yellow, and then I'm going to do a pale yellow for the pink. So I'm just kind of stamping this. Oh, that is a lot pinker than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I'll flip. Redo. I'm going to go with powder pink instead, because that's definitely lighter. Let me clean this off. Okay, let me just take a second, make sure this is much lighter. Okay, so powder pink. You could also stamp this all first if you wanted to. Okay, so there's one. And I'm going to add a little bit of a leaf element as well. And then we'll go with, since it's really soft, so saffron. It's a little too light. Okay. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of a leaf element. So I had so saffron and then, oops, sticky finger, powder pink. And then for the leaf, I think I'm going to just add just this little little tiny leaf here. You could use these if you wanted to. That would be really pretty as well. The bigger, this bigger flourish or the skinny ones. But I'm just going to add just a couple little leaves in. And I'm going to do these in Pear Pizzazz. Just kind of randomly. Because again, I don't really know what we're going to trim for this. One in the center. And a good rule of thumb when you're doing this, if you're adding something randomly, is if you have it kind of in a triangular pattern. Supposedly it's very appealing to the eye. So, and I like sometimes just to add things off before I re-ink it. So you have just different layers of color. That makes sense. Like really, really, really light something. So that's all. I'm not going to go any more than that. And then I'm going to stamp the sentiments in black. And also want to tell you something else, just a little secret. I know someone else shared this as well. I did buy this. It's really, really awesome. That's all I have to say. You can watercolor with it. You can do blends with it. You can emboss with it. You can do so many things with it. It's really cool. Okay, so happy birthday. Could tie a piece of ribbon across the... Yep, you could. You could do lots of stuff. That's a good idea. That would definitely have covered that up. Should have thought of that ahead of time. Okay, and then I was like not paying attention and I thought, watch, I'm going to stamp this and it'll be crooked. But it's not. Miraculously, it's not. And this one's upside down. And I also just really gooped that. So let me see. Let me scrap. Yeah, because this is... That thanks was a little goopy. Has anybody else tried that Gina K ink? No, it works for everything. I know it's awesome, isn't it, Donna? It's so nice. Now this doesn't want to... Hold on, let me clean this because I think I picked something up when I did that. It's really, really nice. And it has like a super deep black. But the other thing that's really cool about it is it's so crisp. Beautiful. Don't even know. That looked like it was going to be goopy. I was a little worried there for a second. It's very, very crisp. Like you get a lot of details to whatever you're stamping. You know how sometimes when you stamp something and you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, it just doesn't seem like as detailed. That stuff is really detailed. It's super awesome. Okay, so as a final wrap up, I'm going to grab the Detailed Trio Punch. And I kind of like doing this because I think it looks pretty. So we'll see. You do have to make sure that you shove this all the way into the end. So I'm going to have 2 round corners and 2 points. So make sure when you do that you push, that you check to make sure it's all the way in, or else you'll get kind of like a wonky round. So there's that. But this is a little big. I'm going to have to trim this down some. So we might have to do this over again. Hold on a second. Let me just slice a little bit off of this. So I think we said this was 2 inches. So I'm going to take this down to a little bit less. And a little bit less. So I'm going to have to redo that. So I'm just going to cut this one down while we're at it. No, it cleans clean off of your stamp. Stays on, you can get off if you use Stays On Remover, which we do carry. Stays On Cleaner. Stays On does come off, but you got to kind of get it right away or kind of let it soak. And I don't mean like soak for an hour, like spray it, let it sit for a minute, and then scrub it with like a fingernail brush or something. So Stays On Cleaner does get Stays On off. But the thing is, when you have your photopolymer stamps, you can't really get away from staining them. They are always going to be stained. However, I have said this before, and only because I've lost stamps. It's kind of nice because that way you don't lose anything. At least they have that red tint to them. You can find them on the carpet or in the trash can. So I'm going to do the same thing again on this one. I'm just rounding both edges. But I do like it a lot. God, that's still so big. Maybe I'm going to put this on the inside on one of these because I don't know. I'm kind of to the point where I almost don't want to cover up the card now. So maybe I'll put it on the inside. So fickle. This is how I live my life too. So don't think this is any different. This is like me about everything. Fickle, fickle, fickle. It's so cute. Could put this on the inside. Thanks a bunch. I don't know. I almost don't want to cover it up. I guess I could cut it down slimmer. They're so pretty. It like I want to add something, but maybe tinier. Ah, geez, whiz. I don't know. I'm going to end up putting them on the inside, I think, for now. And then maybe adding like a slim sentiment to the front. Like, congratulations. I'm going to do one of them with that because at least that will be slim. Because now I'm just being ridiculous. Inside works for me. Here's what I'm going to do. I have some of these scrap pieces from when I trimmed my paper. So I'm going to stamp congratulations on one and at least finish one of them with that. I'll put it like maybe right across here if that'll look cute. Oh my gosh. The crazier part is, if you guys think I'm crazy, which I would never take that personally because I kind of feel that way sometimes. This is only the things that I say out loud. Well, imagine how much worse it is inside my brain. Maybe that's why I'm so creative. Because I'm fun. That's a good way to put it, right? Congratulations. If you guys remember, I know my dad has a shirt like this. If you guys remember back in the 80s where they had like those shirts that always said too many choices. Do you remember those shirts? And it would have like, my dad has one that has guitars all over it because he plays the guitar. And like, I know they would have ones that would have like bars or beer. That's how I feel about stamps. Too many choices. Sometimes I can't make a decision. I need someone to come help me with my sentiment, placement, or suggestions. And I'm going to flag both of these. So if you don't have a punch that will flag, or maybe something's a little too difficult, I usually just snip in the middle first, which this one I cut just a hair off. Snip in the center and then cut to it, and it kind of makes a really nice flag. So I'm going to put this one down, and let me put this on a piece of paper. That way hopefully it's dry so it doesn't smudge. And I'm going to put a little bit of snail on it. You could also put this up with some dimensionals as well. I'm going to leave a little bit of the yellow under there. There you go. So that's even super cute. This one definitely needs something. I think like if you put something big there, it just takes away from the card. So we could put like a little tiny something or other down there if there was something that was really slim. But I can't find anything else slim in this that I really want to stamp right now. So I'm going to put this, except this doesn't match now with the thanks a bunch. But I'm going to put the big things that I did on the inside. And then something else slim I will end up wrapping this up with just one of my scraps that I trimmed off of the paper. So I hope this video was worth you guys watching today. Thank you so much for staying with me. And I know sometimes it's probably, I feel like I am painful to watch. So thank you for tolerating me. If you feel the same, again, I know everybody crafts differently, so I absolutely would never take it personally. I hope you guys have found some new uses for this, like Donna, if you've had this stamp set and you've never used it before. So you don't even have to just use the stamp set. I mean, you could definitely, I've done this, I did this with this, in case I didn't show you guys. I don't remember if I showed you this or not, but I used this to make that wreath builder card. Can't remember if we did this as a video or not. We might have, but that was just with the stamp set. So you could make your own wreath builder, which I do have a video on that. So that's on there as well. You could do that. You could use the dies or like a combination of the two. You could use up some of your embellishments if you have embellishments to add. Or you could keep it really simple. You could even go back with this after the fact if you wanted to, and you could spray, or you could like dabble in some frost white onto your flowers if you wanted them to have an all over look. You could take your Wink of Stella pen if you wanted them to have a little bit of shimmer, and just kind of touch just a little pieces of some of them just to give them a little bit of shine. So you go on and add a little bit of Stella to them randomly, which would be really pretty. So lots of different things you could do. You could make it simple, you could make it less simple, or you can make it really extravagant, because I like making those kind of cards too. Don't worry, Susan, if you're coming in late, you can always watch the replay. I thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any Stampin' needs, I would be happy to be your demonstrator. If you don't have a catalog, please let me know. And we also will be getting a new catalog shipment soon. So I believe it gets finalized April 30th, which I know sounds a really far way away. But they mail them out, I think, usually in the end of May. So if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. I'll be happy to send you a catalog. but I do need your full mailing address to do that. So if you are a customer of mine and you've ordered in the past 6 months, you will automatically get one. So don't worry about that. But if you don't have a demonstrator, all you have to do is send me your full mailing address to rachthestamper@gmail.com. Make sure that you include your zip code. And then I will add you to the list when we send out the new catalogs, which again, that won't be until probably the end of May is when they mail them, I think. Mid-May, and then you should get them at the end of May. And then the catalog starts in June 3rd. Also, probably in the beginning of April, I believe they'll be announcing the retirement list. And that will be for the occasions catalog, probably, and the annual catalog. So keep your eye out for that. I'll make sure that I keep you guys updated, because I know sometimes if there's something you've been holding off on getting, once they put it on the list, a lot of times things do sell out and you won't be able to get it any longer. But otherwise than that, if you guys have any questions about anything, sales, orders, suggestions for what we could do on a Facebook Live, all you have to do is send me an email. I am happy to take viewer requests, because a little less thinking for something for me to do. But I hope you guys will give this a try. It's really fun. You could do this with any color, really. The other one that I did, if I can pull it out and find it, I actually ended up using the stripes. I used the seafoam with the stripes in the background, and then I think I put it on a white card base, so that one was really pretty as well. But I think the nice green and yellow combo one here is very, very pretty. So thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will send a picture. I'll put pictures of both of these up, and especially this one once I finish what sentiment I want to add. Thanks for watching, y'all. Have a wonderful day.